Well, all right. It's Tuesday, October 24th. It's 12:30. I have just wrapped up my day. For anyone joining us for the first time, this is my channel where I'm documenting my new ES future strategy. I use a secret indicator that is to the left of this chart that I don't show on YouTube. And all of my trade setups are based off of a free indicator that I came up with some parameters and conditions and rules for what validates taking a trade based off of it. And so you'll see up here, I currently am trading three different kinds of setups, what I call LO, PB, and an OJ, and you can see their win percentages there. And I show my overall win rate now. So I'm 31 wins and 5 losses. And today I was 1 win and 2 break-even +1 trades. And so you'll maybe question, well, how can you be 31 and 5 if you have break-even +1 days? And what I do to calculate this and keep track in a more simple manner is if I have a break-even +1 or better, I consider that a win because it's profitable. If I have a break-even, it's just straight up break-even, it would be a loss because of the commissions. And so I would consider that a red trade or a loss trade. And so that's how I've calculated the overall numbers here. So on a day like this, when I'm 1, 0, and 2, typically I would say, well, it's a 3-0 day as far as this is concerned and the numbers here. But as you'll see when I get into my trades for today, I actually entered a trade by mistake today. It wasn't a valid setup according to my rules. It wasn't something that I should have taken a trade on or executed. And I entered it by mistake, really. Human error. I thought that I had an LO setup and it wasn't. It didn't qualify. And I wanted to get out of the trade immediately once I realized that I entered the trade and it wasn't valid. And so if you check out my live recording session of my trades today, you'll see that all go down and how that happened. So this is where I do my daily wrap-up review and talk about the day and the trades and some details about how it went in a concise way. And then I have my other live recorded trading session in the other playlist for anyone that wants to check out the real-time action, how it went down. So let me pause here and let's show you kind of what my day looked like real quick. All right, so I started somewhere around, I believe it was 650, maybe somewhere in this area. There had just been some high impact news, and this thing shot up and down a couple times. What I did was I measured the first leg down here, and then the second leg that had already been well reached. So then I measured for the a bigger one leg up, and it looked like we just about got that. So my first trade today was my OJ setup, which has continued to be just really awesome as far as the win rate. Now, they don't happen as much as my other setups. I think the LO setup happens the most, which is why I've taken the most trades with. And then the PB setup happens probably the second most, I would say, and then the OJ the third most. And I've also only just been trading OJ since last week. So this is only the second week I've traded the OJ setup. This is the beginning of my 6th week on YouTube trading the strategy. And so all these numbers are based on the just only the trades I've taken live here on YouTube, which is all the trades I take. I show all my trades every day, win or lose. So OJ, this was my 4th time taking the OJ on YouTube, and it worked perfectly right away. Got 8-tick scalp, was super easy. And because I was kind of thinking that we would have this second leg up and we we're continuing to make higher lows, everything just seemed to fit the picture to take that trade. And it was a great, easy trade. It was nice to get a trade like that as my first one today. After taking a loss yesterday and having a red day, nice to get get a little bit of that red day back on the first trade. So then we'll talk about where I got myself into some trouble. So as you can see here, we basically, for all intents and purposes, basically reached the big measured move up. We had gotten outside of the previous day's high here. So we broke out of it and came back in. And so when this made two legs down and then it started continuing down again, I made a bigger measured move down. And so, which leads me to my second trade of the day. I'm going to explain my LO setup a little bit, even though I don't show my indicator or say what it is, because I don't show it. And the reason why I don't show it, for anyone that doesn't know, I don't show it because I'm not trying to teach the strategy. I'm not trying to say this is the way anyone else should trade. This is what I found to be working for me, and I built a system based on an indicator. But I don't want to advise anyone to go out and try to start trading this way. The purpose of this channel is for me to document how well the strategy works and whether it's profitable and what the win rate is and how it works over a long period of time. So I'm only, as you can see, 36 trades into this journey on YouTube. I did take 7 trades the week before I started YouTube that were all successful. So out of 36 trades, I've won 31 and I'm 86% right now. If you add on the additional 7 wins from the week prior to me documenting on YouTube, my win rate, I would be 38 wins and 5 losses, and my win percentage would be 88% overall. So right here, I'm just going to explain this. This bar here was touching a line on my indicator, and when it touches, I call it a BT. That's what I refer to it as. And then when the next bar closes and doesn't touch that line anymore, I refer to that as my LO bar. And the LO means lift off. It means it lifts off the line. And so I can get it to the short side or the long side. And so I believed that this was a liftoff bar. And so I entered when it went 2 ticks below this bar. You can see I entered when it went to the second tick. I entered 1 tick below my signal bar. I consider the LO bar the signal bar. And so I entered, and if you watch my live recording session, you'll see that virtually immediately I realized right away that this wasn't actually a liftoff bar. This was still touching barely, but just right at the tip of the wick, it was still touching the line. So it was actually just a second BT in a row. And so this would have been the bar that I was looking for, a liftoff or LO bar, to be bearish, and then close below that one is how it should have been done. But because I didn't catch that, I was just expecting that it wouldn't touch. It didn't look like it would touch, and that's why I always wait for the signal bar to close, because that's when I'll know for sure, based on the close of the bar, whether something like that is touching or not. And so I realized it right away. And if you listen to the live video, I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm sure I was freaking out because I knew I wasn't supposed to be in this trade. It was an invalid trade. It was not an LO, and I had no business entering this. So it, of course, pulled back and chopped around, and I put my stop where it was supposed to be, and just was at the mercy of the market. And thankfully, it worked its way over and came over here. And so what I did was, I just was happy to take my break even +1. So I put my profit target there, and was so happy to get out of the trade. Now, when I got out of the trade, and this bar closed now that I was out of the trade, which happened almost at the exact same time, I then realized, wait a second, I have a BT bar here and an LO bar here. So all of a sudden I was so thankful I was out of this trade from here. And then all of a sudden I realized, wait a second, all of my rules are met. I've got the BT here touching right here, and no touch on this bar at all with a very bearish bar. And so I immediately, without thought, just re-entered again, one tick below this bar when it went two ticks, and executed a trade when it triggered. And my headspace at the time was so messed up because I did this, and I was so thankful to get out. But then, of course, it immediately pulled back against me, and I was like, oh man, now I was doubting myself. Did I see things correctly? I entered so fast, and it was really just, my mind was spinning, and I thought I made a mistake. And because there was this measured move down, which this was virtually at, and on this bar actually touched the measured move. So I was like, oh man, it all happened so fast, and I didn't take into account the measured move. And I really thought I was going to lose this trade. And so just back to back, it was very overwhelming. My psychology was all kinds of messed up. And, I really had no business taking a trade on the back of being in a bad trade. I really shouldn't have entered this at all. I should have collected myself and waited and wait for some time to go by and a better setup, which if I had waited and not entered here, there was another LO that set up here that was a perfect setup, by the way, and would have worked immediately. Now, since I did have this measured move, maybe that would have made me second guess it and not take it at all, but it fit the rules and it was a great setup. And by the way, this one fit the rules too, and it ultimately would have worked for a full scalp. But because of what happened here and because of the pullback here, I really just wanted to get out of the trade. And so when it finally pushed back down here, I was trying to get more than break even plus one. I put my profit target, I believe, at 6 or 5 ticks, which might have been at the bottom of this wick or just below. But what I did was once the wick came here, once the candle got to the bottom of this wick, I moved my stop to break even plus one, and it came back up and tapped me out before it went and ended up working for either 6 or 8 ticks. So that was a really difficult moment in trading for me. I haven't had a situation quite like this before with the system. It's the first time I've ever entered a trade setup where I miscalculated thinking it was a trade setup and it wasn't. I've definitely entered trades that maybe were subjective and entered, and I only want to take objective trades, which are my gold trades. But in this case, this was the first time where I entered a trade that right off the bat just didn't fit the rules. It didn't qualify as an LO because it was touching, and an LO is not touching because that's why it's an LO. It's a lift-off bar lifting off of the indicator line. So that was a tough one. And so, it affected the next trade, and it affected what could have been another trade here. And really, after all of that and having talked about it, I'm really just thankful that I did get out break even plus one, because this could have just been a big loss. And then who knows how the rest of the day would have gone. But I had a loss yesterday, a red day yesterday, and I shouldn't really be able to get 2 red days in a row trading this strategy based on the probabilities and what I'm seeing as a success rate for my trading. So 2 red days in a row should not typically happen, and it would have been a real, it would have been a real downer for me if entering a trade when I shouldn't have entered a trade at all that didn't fit the requirements would have cost me a red day and a second one in a row, and would have definitely done some real damage to my accounts after taking a hit yesterday. So I'm just thankful it ended the way it did. I'm thankful I got my break even plus one here. I'm thankful I got my break even plus one here. I'm thankful I've got my small green day on these accounts. They're all working towards the real goal, which is getting a payout here and getting a payout here, hopefully sooner than later, and passing more evaluations. This account, I think yesterday I was 1 trade away from passing, and now I'm, 3 or 4 trades away. So, that's how it goes. But tough day psychologically for me. But yet, just like yesterday, you just have to put it in the past, and today I have to put this in the past. It was just human error, and at the end of the day, things are still looking good for me. 31 and 5, 86%. Now today, I should mention too, I had two break even plus one trades today, but I'm not going to count this in these stats because it shouldn't have been a trade. It didn't fit the rules. It wasn't one of my three setups according to my strategy. So to this trade to me is a nothing trade as far as my statistics go. This trade was a valid setup. I got a break even plus one on it. And like I said earlier, if it's a break even plus one, it's a profitable trade. And for simplicity reasons, I'm just counting it as a win in my stats. So this one was counted in my stats as a win. So today was technically a 2-0 win day as far as my all win rate. Including this trade. So 1-1 here, 1-1 here. We'll ignore this one for the stats. And I think that covers it. Really the last thing I'd just like to say is, again, I find myself saying this a couple times now over the last week or two. No matter how good your strategy is, the thing that I've learned in the 3 years that I've been trading futures is it still is up to us, the trader, what we do and what decisions we make and how we react when things happen according to plan or not according to plan. And so, I had one great trade that was perfect according to plan. And then I had a trade that we talked about that wasn't valid. And so it's like, what do? Do you take a small loss right away? Do you just flatten the account and just get out for some kind of small loss? Do you do what I did and just try to get out for break even plus one as a worst, as a best case scenario, and worst case scenario, you take a full loss on a trade that you shouldn't be in. So these are the things as a trader for anyone that's struggling. And I still consider myself struggling. I haven't had a payout yet. This is my first go at Apex. I've had 21 evaluations. I'm now up to my first 5 PA accounts. I'm trading 3 of them. I haven't had a payout yet. I'm struggling. And I've been at the ES futures game for 3 years now, and I haven't made any money at it yet. That's the truth. I've been up when I was trading PATs, and then I give my profits back, and I'm up and give it back. Break even, down some, up some, but I've never paid myself trading futures in 3 years, trying to figure out a way to have a winning strategy. So this is the closest now I've ever been in 3 years to having a winning, profitable strategy. My accounts are growing. I'm gaining PAs. I'm getting close to a payout. But these are the things that happen. And so I really believe in this strategy. I think my strategy and my indicator in combination are working really well. 86% win rate overall, 80% on the LO, 92% on the PB, 4-0 on the OJ. So it's working, but I still run into, a situation like right now where I'm in a trade today that I shouldn't be in at all. And I could have easily taken a full loss on it. I really considered just flattening the accounts and just getting out, and whatever little loss, whether I lost 2 ticks or 3 ticks or 4 ticks or 5 ticks, would be better than losing all the way up here. I mean, literally, we're talking about, over six ticks, or over 6 points of a loss, which is about what I lost yesterday. But I think six points or 6.25 points yesterday was about over $600 on the evaluation accounts and $300 lost on the PA accounts. So that would have been another bad hit for me. That would have really caused a delay in reaching my goals. So maybe it would have been better if I just flattened right away when I realized I'm not supposed to be in the trade and take a 2 tick or 3 tick, 4 tick loss, whatever it would have been, and move on. Maybe that would have allowed me to take this trade and be more confident in it. Or maybe I wouldn't have taken this and maybe I would have waited for this one and be confident in this one. So, those are like the small things. It's like every little decision you make throughout the day can completely change the outcome of your day. So, I think that covers everything for today. The end of the day, just really slowed down and just no setup at all for me according to my strategy. This was really the last best trade I could have taken today. And by the time I was out of the second break even plus one, I was just in no condition to take another trade on the back of those two. So I, didn't even consider taking these, even though this one's probably the best looking. Well, this one was good too. They were both really good. All right. We're 20 minutes in, 21 minutes in. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Having said all that here, I don't like these videos getting too long, especially the wrap up video. The live recording session's already long enough. It's, I think, over an hour today because of all this mess today. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, one win, two break even plus ones. For my stats, it's essentially a 2-0 day is how I look at it. $339 on the PA accounts, $1,582 on the evaluation accounts. Headed in the right direction again, and just trying to stick to the rules, follow rules, only take valid trades, and follow the rules for my stop losses, and just try to be really on point. You just have to be on point every time you take a trade. You have to execute well. You have to make sure you're entering trades for the right reasons and just make good decisions. And every time you enter a trade, you have to make good decisions and follow your rules and don't revenge trade. And, that's what it's all about. No matter how good your strategy is, it's up to us to do the right things and follow the rules. And when we don't, that's when we potentially get losses, mess up, blow accounts, and just go completely off in the wrong direction. So having said all of that, I'm going to end it here. Happy for my small green day, and we'll be back at it tomorrow, hopefully for a more well-executed day tomorrow. That's it. Wrapping up. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Oh, and do give me a like and subscribe if any of this is interesting to you. We'll see how we do over the weeks and months to come. And I'm just going to keep tallying it up. All right. That's it.